Most likely either you or someone has asked you this question: what does it mean to serve? And is everyone called to serve? Or how does it work in the kingdom of God when we are supposed to rule, and how does serving work along with that? In this episode, we're going to look at this big question: what does it mean to serve? And a few practical things that would help in your journey with God. Thank you all for joining us. If this is your first time, please consider subscribing to the channel. And if you have already subscribed, please take a moment to turn on the notifications so you can get updates for the upcoming episodes. So, are we called to rule or are we called to serve? The answer is yes, both. Let me explain that. The kingdom of God is usually referred to be this upside down kingdom, and it makes sense when it comes especially to serving, because it's the only kingdom in which the king is meant to be a servant and the servant is meant to be a king. And you see how God did this even with each one of us. The birth of Jesus, the manger itself, was the divine, the royalty coming together with the humility of God, sent to serve his people. Jesus, even though he is a king, and he came down to become a servant to each one of us so we could inherit the title of a king. In Mark chapter 10, Jesus talks about this powerful statement that he makes, that the Son of Man came not to be served, but to serve. Jesus himself saying to his disciples, hey, I did not come to earth so that I could be served. I came to earth so I can serve each one of you. And if you look at it, the kingdom of God is made of sons and daughters that have these two distinct identity traits, and which are equally important. All right. First, they rule from a place of authority, and second, they serve from a place of humility. I want to say that again. First, they rule from a place of authority, and second, they serve from a place of humility. The kingdom of God is made up of sons and daughters who knows what it means to be a royal priesthood, who knows what it means to be a king, and who knows what it means to be a servant. Anytime we lack in either one of those or both of these, we will live in ignorance of the actual destiny and purpose that God placed us on earth for. If you look at it, authority without humility will lead to striving for acceptance through dominion and domination. And if you add humility without authority on the other end, leads to striving for acceptance through good works. So it's so important that you know what it means to have the identity to rule and to serve at the same time. And we thrive as sons and daughters when we learn that we are made to both rule and serve, from that extravagant place of the identity of God over our life. Those who know their identity as kings especially will never shy away from that responsibility and that joy of serving God's people. Because if you look at it, anytime we ignore an opportunity to serve, we end up losing the opportunity to rule as a king in the kingdom of God. In fact, each of our capacity to serve starts when we know that we are made by God and made for God and made for his kingdom. So everything changed in this moment for the disciples when Jesus was teaching them about what it means to be serving people versus expecting to be served. So in fact, serving is a privilege, but being a servant is a prerequisite to being a disciple. Only a disciple is willing to serve. Only a disciple can be promoted and trusted with the affairs of the kingdom of God. You can't be crowned royalty if you are not willing to serve. The leaders are born the moment when they are ready to serve versus they are asking people to serve them. And one of the preachers said this so powerfully, I just want to read it. It says, you rule with the heart of a servant and you serve with the heart of a king. So it makes sense because you rule with the heart of a servant because you know that everything that God has given you is not just for you, it's for the people that He has put in your life. And you serve with the heart of a king because you know that you have been placed in people's life to represent the kingdom of God, to represent the royalty of the king that you belong to. So I want to challenge you today. Remember to recognize your true identity as sons and daughters. And your identity is not just to rule on earth or just to serve on earth. Your identity is to rule and to serve because God has made you to be a royal priesthood. A royal priesthood who rules from a place of authority and who serves from a place of humility. I pray that this blessed you. Thanks for watching, and God bless you.